trip your mind?
And the wheel keeps spinning. I am your sassy co-host in a different locale today, Julie, and I'm joined by my ghosting extraordinaire co-host.
I'm CJ. That's never going away, is it? That's just going to live with me for the rest of eternity, isn't it? Fantastic.
Yep. Sorry, I just moved my phone
No,
out
you're
my
fine.
way. Anyway, so what's going on, CJ?
I don't want to talk anymore. I'm going away. No, no, it's been a minute. If I guess we should peek behind the curtain a little bit. It's been 2 weeks since you and I actually sat down and did this. We have enough content that our listeners aren't missing anything, but it's been a couple of weeks since we sat down. As you mentioned, you're on a different locale and you were traveling to said locale, so we took some time off. But yeah, it's not too bad. Just working and working on things for the move. I've been doing a lot of window shopping, like going on Amazon and saying, "Oh, I want this for the house," or "I want this for the house." Like I'm not buying yet. I'm just putting together. I actually put together like a list. Like you can make the list on Amazon. So I'm
like a wish list.
Yeah. But it's not a wish. It's because a wish. There is actually a wish list that's among it. Yeah, that's empty. So I created a list that I called "New Home," and I'm just dropping items in there that I want for the house when I finally get there.
Well, you can. Here's the cool part: is you could share it with other people, and then they can send you like homecoming or not homecoming.
Housewarming. Yes. Yeah, no, but these are like for example, one of the things on there is the $1,500 coffee table that I want. So I really don't want to put that on somebody, So,
but I mean,
it's a really cool ass coffee table though. It's got the whole tabletop is MagSafe charging. So like if you put your phone down anywhere on it, it just if you have MagSafe on the back of the phone, it'll grab it and charge it. It has a Bluetooth built-in speaker and 2 refrigerators drawers built into the coffee table that you just can pull open and like pull out beer and drink beer, whatever, and it's all right there. So, and there's a whole touchscreen area to control all that as well. So, I mean,
so you're getting techie.
Well, I mean, don't I always?
Not from our last episode, you weren't.
No, well, that's different. Yeah, that's a little bit different. But
is it that different?
Yes, because my coffee table is not going to come to life and kill me. So
How do you know? Maybe it'll grow a heart or a brain or something.
How's it going to kill me? So
it's got legs.
No, it doesn't. No, it literally sits right on the floor. It's got like little maybe stub things at most.
It'll kill you with its stubs.
So, but I've also been looking at like there's a bar I want, but not necessarily a full on bar, but like there's like a corner bar, like you can put it in the corner and like set your bottles on it and stuff, things like that. So I've been looking at that stuff. I really want to get a pool table. I've always wanted a pool table, always, but I've never had my own space to put one in. So it'll be nice to have my own space and maybe finally get that. So I've been like looking at those things, not all of them on Amazon, but the pool table for sure is not on Amazon. But,
cool.
Yeah. And then I'm going to need a lot of furniture that I don't have because when I moved to Missouri, I gave up a lot of my furniture to move in with the ex because I thought, I'd be there and she had it. So,
she has all your furniture, or you sold all your furniture because she already had furniture?
I actually just threw it away because it was in really bad shape. It wasn't even sellable, really. But yeah, I just got rid of all of mine because she already had. So I didn't really need, And
I gotcha.
Yeah, I bought a couch when I moved into this apartment because I wanted a couch to sleep. It actually doubles as my bed because it has a pull-out bed in it. But but I'm gonna need like a bed when I get there. I'm gonna want like a nicer couch. Like the couch I have is nice, but I'm gonna want a nicer couch and stuff like that. So I've been looking into those things, and unfortunately, none of that stuff is cheap.
Yeah. Well, prices have gone up, but also too furniture. If you want something that's gonna last a little longer, sometimes you're gonna have to pay the price.
I mean, yeah, the bed I'm looking at is only like $200, which isn't bad. The mattress is where it's going to get expensive, but the bed itself is only like $200, so that's not too bad, right? But the couch I want is like, I think it's like $4,000, but it's got surround sound speakers built into the couch.
I see.
Yeah, so it's with like a 22-inch subwoofer under like one of the cushions, like it's gonna be.
But
nice.
if something breaks, how do you fix it?
Oh, you can put. What, you mean the speakers?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're right under the cushions. Like you just move the cushion and the speaker's like right there. So, like I think it's pushed. Yeah. No, I've seen it. Like it shows it on the. It's a company called Lovesac. They make this thing. So.
Okay. Well.
Anyway, I've been that's basically it. Mainly just working and just preparing for the house. How about you? What's going on? Obviously you're in a different location, so I think we're gonna get into the nuts and bolts of it on a different recording. But
Yeah. So we decided to take a road trip with the dogs and 2 of the 3 kids because my oldest had to stay back.
Did you sell the third one?
I did. I sold her.
Oh, good.
She fetched for a very good price.
Nice.
She's in workable condition. No, she's.
That sounds way worse than I know you intended.
No, she's actually at back home. She had to work, so.
Gotcha.
And that's the awesome part about having an adult child now is you can trust them to be at home and
Can you though?
Yeah, you can.
All
like
right.
I mean she tells on herself, so like
she's gonna work on that.
if she has her friends over, she'll text me and say, I'm having my friends over, is that okay? And I'm like,
no,
yeah.
I mean that's honestly, all jokes aside, that's responsible and very, very cool. But I'm just saying.
Yeah. And then she'll text me and say, I cleaned the house, not that you asked me to, but I did it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, she'll be here later on because she's gonna drive back with me.
Gotcha. Right, because hubby's staying up for work when you leave, right? If I recall.
Yeah. Right. So yeah. So we're actually in New Jersey. Came back to the old stomping grounds. I actually ask myself that all the time when I'm here. Like, why did we want to come back here? Why did we want to live here to start with in the beginning of?
Well, I mean, to be fair, we were all born there, so I don't think we were really given that choice.
I wasn't born here. I was born in Westchester.
Okay, well then that's solely on your mom's. That's solely on your mom.
Yeah, they forced me to move to New Jersey, and then I left, and then I stupidly keep coming back when
I've told people. It's funny you say that because people that I've met in Missouri and some of the people that know me in Jersey that I still talk to, like, are you, now that everything went the way it did with the ex, are you coming back? And I'm like, no. And I'm like, but I'm also like, it's like a black fucking hole, dude. It sucks you back. Like you have to fight that resistance.
Yep. So
trip's going well. Again, we're gonna get into the specifics on a different recording, but trip's going well.
Yeah, it's going pretty well. I mean, I will say this about the fact that having 2 dogs, and one of which is very, very well trained, and still he makes some errors. For example, I was taking them. We're in a hotel, and I was taking him in the elevator to go out to the bathroom because apparently there's no rooms on the first floor. It's all,
Not
you know,
convenient, but I gotcha.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, and the stairs are like, I don't know, a mile away from our room. So me trekking them down at 7 a.m.
Right.
to go down the stairs, it's not optimal. So I wait for the elevator. And most of the time, if there's somebody else who's waiting for the elevator, I let them go because nobody
Sure.
wants to be stuck in an elevator with two dogs, one of which is a very young, protective dog who growls at anybody who looks like they might be suspicious or just, looks at
Exist.
her. Yeah, looks at her the wrong way. She's like, "What are you looking at? I'll fight you."
Mine just had a hissy fit right before you called, so I get
Did
it.
she?
Yeah.
So, anyway, as we were waiting for the elevator, and I let him kind of be a little bit more free, even though he's still on a leash. I let him kind of be a little more free because he calls back when I ask him to come and heal
Sure.
and do all
Sure.
that stuff. Well, there was this lady waiting beside us and for the elevator, and I was gonna completely just let her go by herself in the elevator. And as she walked up, he's the one who jumped on her.
Oh
And I was
no.
like, now he's not trying to hurt anybody. He's just
Right. Right.
trying to
Right.
like
Yeah.
lick
Yeah.
her face and stuff. But I'm like, dude, not everybody likes dogs,
Right.
period. But
Right.
not even people who like dogs, not all of them like to get licked in the face or jumped on by a strange dog either. So,
Yeah.
So I called him back, but but I was like super embarrassed. I was like, "Gee, you're the good one."
Well, I mean, as long as she wasn't upset about it, meaning the woman, that's good. So,
She wasn't, thankfully. She was like, "It's fine. I've had worse things happen to me. He's not
Right.
he's not
Right.
that
Yeah.
bad."
Yeah.
But then the other one's kind of like at my side going, "Stay away
Which
from
isn't right.
my brother." I'm like, he's the one who jumped on her, so you got to yell. And then when he came back to heel when I called him back, then Ember just kind of like growled at him and like snapped at him like, you should have come back when mom called you. Like she yells at him. She's like, bro, do the right thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's yeah. Yeah. I mean, at least you got a co-parenting system kind of thing going on there. So
Yeah, but she's the baby. She has
I know. Hey,
she needs to.
they don't they say women mature faster than men? So
I guess that's true.
I
But
don't know if it
yeah.
applies to dogs, but
So, but I will say I am not that like I guess I didn't notice it before because I didn't have dogs before, so it didn't apply to me at the time. But when I've never noticed how unfriendly to dogs New Jersey is. Like there's nowhere I can take these dogs or very little because there's very few places I can actually take them where like in public where they're welcome aside from like a dog park or
right,
randomly walking on the street or something. But aside from like a friend's house or my mom's house or something like that, I can't take them anywhere other than the hotel because
right, yeah.
yeah. So
Well, I mean, it sounds a bit like they're driving you to drink. What are you drinking tonight?
so I went to the store and got a It's called Victory Dark Chocolate Cherry Stout.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I think that I'm going to try that tonight. I don't have my glass,
Well, you're on the road. That's allowed. It's okay.
so
Yeah.
I am gonna have to drink out of the
Out of the can. Yeah.
can. I'm gonna be real classy today.
Oh, there you go. Um, the the
So what do you got?
irony. That's the irony. We reversed roles tonight because I figured since we were talking health, I would go red wine.
Oh, well.
Because red wine they say is I mean in moderation, of course, is healthy for you. So I have this Josh Reserve. I've gotten into the Josh Reserve wines. I'm sure you've heard of that, right?
Yeah.
But this
Yeah,
one
you were
is
talking about that before.
this is a different one though than the one I mentioned before. You're right, I did.
Hmm.
But this one it's also a Cabernet, but this one is aged in bourbon bottles or bourbon barrels. So, and
Okay.
I'm a big bourbon drinker, so I was like, "Ooh, kill two birds, one stone," you know. And it's more of a joke because you don't really taste. You can get a little hint of the bourbon, but you're definitely not getting like double the alcohol or nothing. You know, you get a little bit of the flavor, but that's it, which is nice. But
Yeah.
the other thing I wanted to show you and the audience watching on YouTube is this wine topper I got. Can you see that? All right, or no?
Yeah, it looks like a dog pissing.
It does a little bit actually, but here's the neat thing about it. I got this. I got a the rabbit wine bottle opener. It's the one
Yeah, yeah.
I bought a set, not just the
Hmm.
opener. So it came with this and a couple other things that aren't really relevant to this conversation. What's neat about this is I can pull out the thing you said that looks like a dog peeing, and I can pour directly from the topper without having to actually open the bottle.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, so I'm pouring some of this red wine, and
But to be clear, you opened the bottle before you just put the aerator on there. No?
yeah, it's not even really an aerator. It's just like a wine topper. You know those wine toppers you can get once you open the bottles
Hmm.
because sometimes it's
Yeah.
not easy to get the cork back in. So that's what it's meant to be. But you can also pull the thing out instead of having to pull the
You
whole
can pull the
topper out.
penis out.
Okay, I wasn't going there, but sure, yes, you know. Um, So and then there's my red wine. So it's funny that we flipped roles a little bit tonight, right? With the
Oh,
beer
there
and
you
the
go.
wine. But so cheers, Jules.
Cheers.
And we do encourage you, by the way. I don't think we say this enough when we're doing the recordings, Joel. If you're listening with us, pause for a second if you have to. Grab a drink and hang out with us. This is definitely meant to be. I feel like we didn't lay this out to the audience well. It's you and I've had this mentality, but I don't think we laid this out to the audience. It's meant to be a conversation for all of us, even though the audience can't contribute live like we're doing. I want them to feel like they're sitting in the room with us and just listening to us all talk together, and so grab a
Yeah.
drink if you need to or if you want to, or a snack or whatever, and hang out with us. So yeah, I think that's I think we need to press that more often. I mean, maybe not every time we talk, but
True.
yeah. Um, but yeah, we are going to talk health tonight. But and before we get into health, I think it's important, Jules, for a lot of reasons, to say that neither of us are health experts.
Oh, no,
Um,
no, no. We're not.
neither of us are medical professionals. Neither of us work in that field. We just have our own experiences and our own thoughts and our own beliefs, and we're gonna belief might be too strong of a word, but we're gonna talk about how things that we've experienced. But please do not take anything we say as medical advice. If anything you hear that we say that you like, I highly recommend you speak to a medical professional before implementing it into your own life. So I feel like it's important we put that out there before we get into any of this.
I agree. Disclaimer.
Yeah. I don't think we always have to put that kind of disclaimer on it, but this one's important. If we're going to talk about stuff like this, I think it's very important that we make that
Well,
clear. Yeah.
yes, but also too, I mean, this is our own experiences, not necessarily uh things that I mean, people certainly can relate to them, but I think if you're looking at it as, oh, that's also something that happens to me, go see somebody to verify what you
Exactly.
believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
Because
Yeah. Just, yeah.
because it's very easy to like just WebMD yourself or Google yourself your symptoms and come up with like 8,000 different things, and none of them are great.
It's fun. I'm glad you started there, Jules, because I will tell you, I actually don't do that ever for that reason. Because like, if you Google your symptoms or WebMD your symptoms, usually, at least every time I do it, I feel like I'm gonna die. Like, like whatever it is that's going on
Well,
is going to kill me. So, you know, and most of the time it ends out just being like a ear infection or a sinus infection.
yeah, yeah.
Like,
So I actually have done that. I've Googled my symptoms at some point. And usually it's just it's on to something and then it's just wrong. You know what I mean? You start you're like, okay, yeah, that sounds like it could be plausible. That sounds reasonable. And then you're like, that sounds like there's no possible way that's like even me, because there's no way I could have erectile dysfunction. So let's move on from that.
well, I mean, I guess technically you have permanent erectile dysfunction
How exactly?
because you can't get an erection, technically.
Okay, but that's not a dysfunction. That's literally that it's never been there. So
No, I mean true, but it's like the line from Fight Club. You've seen it, right?
which one? No, I have not. I've only seen clips of Fight Club. I've not actually seen
Really?
Fight Club.
I did
Yeah,
not know. Okay, well
because you're
there's a
not really supposed to talk about Fight Club. So
fair enough. No, but okay, that was fun. But seriously, have you? If you haven't, it's okay. But have you seriously
no, I
not? Okay,
haven't.
okay.
No.
So I'm not going to ruin anything, but there's a part where the main character is going to support groups, but he does it not because he actually needs support. He's doing it because it helps him sleep because he suffers from insomnia, and somehow the crying that occurs at a lot of these support groups helps him sleep. It's a weird premise. I get it. Does not focus on that. But one of the support groups he goes to is testicular cancer. Okay, that makes sense. Except that there's a woman that starts doing exactly the same thing he's doing and going to all these different support groups. And she shows up at testicular cancer. And the two of them in a private moment get into a fight about going to these groups. And he's like, I've seen you. And he starts rattling off all the different groups he's seen. And he's and I've even seen you at testicular cancer. And she hits him back immediately with, technically, I have more right to be there. You at least have your balls. I mean, it's a great line, and she's not wrong. Like he's
I mean,
not.
maybe
Yeah.
she is a tranny that went through
Even if no, she's not. But even if she's not, like she's right. She doesn't have testicles, so technically, she has more of a right to be there. I mean,
you never know.
yeah. So anyway, sorry, small rant, but that just made me think of that when you said it the way you did. But yeah. So we both have our own litany of medical issues.
Yeah, I want you to go first.
Oh, thanks, appreciate that. Yeah. One of the things before I get into that, Jules, one of the things I think we should at some point touch on is, as we said, we're not medical professionals, but I in the last 10 years I've gotten into really into holistic alternatives. I'm not saying I'm anti-medicine. I'm just saying I'm also more open to exploring those choices, right?
Okay.
So, like for example, you may not be able to see them very well, but I'm wearing these bracelets, and they're different crystals that they're made out
Okay.
of crystal materials that are like it's more for my mental and emotional health than my physical health. But I at this point I figure I got to try everything. So,
Yeah.
um, you know, and I mean they cost me $10 for all four of them, so it's not like I'm you know spending hundreds of dollars trying to solve shit. You know what I mean? It's like let me buy these $10 bracelets and see if they make any kind of difference. Things like that. But I'm also
Right.
for other holistic things that we can talk about later. But I think it's important. Maybe we could touch on that a bit too. So the biggest thing in my world though, was that for the first 32 years of my life, I was diagnosed with having was it 32 years? Yeah. For the first 32, I was diagnosed with having cerebral palsy.
Right. Yeah.
And then when I was 32, I had sinus surgery uh, for non-related issue. By the way, I've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 11 surgeries in my lifetime for mostly for my condition, but also I've had the sinus surgery as the one too. But when they did that, because it's so close to the brain, part of my ear, nose, and throat specialist pre-surgery process is to get a CAT scan.
Right.
Just to make sure nothing's going on, and it's probably a CYA move on his part too, but that's fine, whatever. And an anomaly actually came up when they did mine.
You have no
Not enough.
brain.
Well, I mean, haven't I made that painfully obvious on this show already? But no, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I
That
saw
was
it.
it.
I saw it formulating. There was a thing coming there. I
That
saw it.
was it. That was
All
it.
right. So no, but there was an anomaly. So he had me go to a neurologist to have them like take a look at the scan and figure out what it was. And it turns out that the cerebral palsy was misdiagnosed
Okay.
as it should have been schizencephaly. Now,
I
I
thought you were
will.
going to say schizophrenia. I was like, wow, I don't think that makes any sense to that condition.
I'm glad that you brought it up that way because I feel like a lot of people, when they see it, even when it is the correct word, immediately think there is that kind of component to it, and
Yeah.
and there's not at all. Although you've been telling me I've been crazy for as long as I've known you, so I mean maybe,
I
but
mean, you are crazy, but I mean,
So what
that's
I'm just
that's a matter altogether different.
well, fair. I'm just gonna move on though and get into this. So, what it basically ends up being is it's this everything would be the same as cerebral palsy. The big difference is the root cause. Um, what I have is actually hereditary. Cerebral palsy is not hereditary.
Right.
Also, what I have is actually classified as a rare disease compared to cerebral palsy, which I also found
Yeah.
interesting. Rare doesn't mean like terminal or anything, which is good, but like,
Well, it just means that most of the population doesn't have that specific
condition.
condition.
Yeah. And the other thing that's really interesting is the different severities of what I have. Now, what I have is about middle ground where I'm at. Um, but in terms of severity, it can be really bad. There's a lot of uh, one big thing between the cerebral palsy and what I had, the schizencephaly, is there is a light sensitivity component if you are more severe than I am.
Okay.
So like seizures and what's the like almost like an epilepsy, but not. You know what I mean? It can the photosensitivity, like those warnings you see when you're watching certain TV shows or movies, like yeah,
Right.
that would apply if I had a more severe version of what I have. Um,
Okay.
the other interesting thing is that on the cerebral palsy scale, I was on the lighter end of it, if you will, like in terms of severity. And on the schizencephaly scale, I'm more middle ground. So I actually got worse technical classification wise, but like, nothing else has gotten, but I'm still not anywhere near the worst end of it. And the other,
Now, can
sorry.
you get worse as you
N-
get
no,
older,
it's
or
not.
does it kind of just stay the same?
It stays this. I mean, I can get worse, but not not the root cause, not the schizencephaly itself. I'm gonna have
Okay.
muscle deterioration and things like that because of what the disability has put my body through, but not the from the condition itself. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Oh, if it doesn't, tell me and I'll try to explain. I mean,
No, I think it makes sense. I'm trying to. I mean, there's a fine line between like natural age progression, and just for you, that natural age progression is gonna be, or deterioration, should I say, is just because people naturally lose muscle
sure,
mass and stuff as
sure,
you get
sure, sure.
older. So for you, it's just because that muscle mass isn't completely functional to start with. So it's like it's just going to deteriorate at the level it's going to. It's just for
Well,
you it
yeah,
feels a little bit worse because
right.
you're already in a muscularly weakened state.
Sure. No,
Okay.
that's accurate, but it's also accurate that like for example, and you've been around me a lot. You've seen me fall, like tripping over stupid shit or whatever. And so
Hmm.
like that beating that I put my body through from the different falls over the years. Like I have arthritis in like I think it's 80% of my body now at this point, you
Oh
know.
well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So eventually I'm gonna need probably my both knees, both hips, and probably at least my left shoulder replaced. I mean, that's almost I think those are almost guarantees at this point, you know.
Yeah.
Um, Whereas someone else of our age, because we're close enough that I could say that, may not. Now, I also know a guy who's 6 months younger than me that's already had both knees and one hip done, but he also is a bigger guy who played a lot of sports. So,
Yeah.
there's obviously different conditions or variables that are going to affect anyone's progression, right? Or deterioration, as you put it.
Yeah.
So it unfortunately mine is from the beating I put on my body, just living, just just existing. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I will also tell you that the last time I had it officially evaluated, well, not the last time, but I guess for a while there, it actually had shown improvement. Again, not the root cause, but the muscular structural uh, issues. Like they had said it had actually progressed in a positive way or regressed, I guess. I don't know what the right word is, to a severe football injury versus an actual like disability. Now, what it doesn't change the classification. They weren't going to do that. Like I'm still eligible for all the things that someone with a disability is eligible for, and I'm trying to not get into a whole political side of things because there is that aspect. But um, but yeah, that's the biggest thing, and then I have allergies that are ridiculous, but that's all, you know.
Mm, no, well, yeah, but allergies kind of might play a part in some things,
I mean, I
especially if
guess.
you already have a weakness in well, for breathing or something like that, and then that just
Yeah, I mean,
compounds.
yeah, I mean, fortunately, what things like that have never been a problem for. Like the condition doesn't affect my breathing. My allergies do, and actually, if anything's affected that kind of stuff, it's when I got the Epstein-Barr virus when I was 16, more than my condition. You know,
Yeah.
because that never leaves you. It can go dormant and not be spreadable, but it never leaves you. So, lucky me. Like I needed something added on to the thing I was already carrying. I do. You know what?
Oh, hang on. You got to repeat that because you went you went
Oh, not
for a
on this
second
side.
there.
That's funny. And neither did you. The irony is, like I needed something else to carry besides the disability, but sure, why not? It's
Yeah.
but I realized I didn't actually describe what schizocephaly is, and I can fairly easily. There's probably a lot more complexities to it, but at the base level, you know how your brain has two hemispheres? It's a right hemisphere and a left hemisphere, right?
Sure.
Yeah. So my right hemisphere is actually divided into another set of hemispheres. There's actually a split completely through the right hemisphere of my brain.
So you're split brain.
I guess.
I don't know what that means.
No, I don't know either, but I was going with it. Split pea soup. I don't know. No, but
Are you
and
the
what?
exorcist? Is
Maybe.
your head gonna
Um,
turn around and you're gonna spit at me soon?
we keep talking about AI and might. In any event,
Oh.
no, but so what's interesting is when we were talking about the severity of it, right? Is how far apart that split becomes, like how much of a gap there is between the two on the where the split is, and mine, there's almost no gap. There's a split. So like if you hold your two pointer fingers together like this and look at it from a top view, that's what it looks like.
Okay.
So you can see there's like a line, but there's not like a gap. And
Gotcha.
so that's why mine's not as bad as it could be because I don't have the gap.
Mhm.
So, and then I guess the last interesting piece about it, I mean, there's probably more interesting pieces, but the last thing I would really want to talk about is that um, uh, it can skip multiple generations.
Okay.
So it's hereditary, but it might be like my great 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 grandfather or grandmother who had this thing.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, because as you know, and anyone who might have listened to the show on its first run knows, I'm adopted, and I found my biological family, and I've spoken with both sides about it, and nobody has
Has
any inclination of having this thing.
but do they know like who might have had it in their family?
No, no, they
No.
have no, and that's the point. It could have been so far back that you know,
Interesting.
yeah, yeah. So, I think the biggest jump I read when I was researching was like 8 generations.
Oh, wow, that's crazy. So
Yeah.
then your fear of having kids that have this issue is kind of moot now.
No, it's actually more severe because it's possible. Like with the cereal, my fear when I thought it was CP was just that I could potentially put them through it, just because, not because I'd pass it on, but it could happen to them too. Because CP can happen to anybody at any time. It's
Well,
simply
yeah, but
yeah.
that's luck of the draw sometimes.
It's luck of the draw, but it also can happen from like I've seen people develop it from like car accidents and stuff, from having oxygen depravity to the brain and things like that, right? So
Well,
like
yeah,
yeah, so whereas so there in reality of things, Jules, even though you knew I was concerned about it, the percentage chance of my children, if I had any, having cerebral palsy was probably close to zero, or the chances were no higher than your children potentially having it. You know what I mean? Whatever that percentage would be, you know.
yeah,
Whereas now with this thing, because it's not guaranteed to skip generations, it just can.
right. But it's
So
also not guaranteed that they would have it either.
no, but the percentage chance, I would say, increases exponentially from my fears with the CP versus this.
Okay.
Because it is definitively passed on by genetics versus the CP just kind of being a luck of the draw, if you will, you know, or bad
Okay,
luck of the
fair
draw,
enough.
So
Fair enough. Fair
yeah,
enough.
so the irony in all that, and I don't want to spin off an whole other topic because that's not what we're here for, is that like over the last like 5 years or so, maybe even the last 10, I've kind of rethought that having kids thing. Like I I'm looking upon that decision with a sliver of regret.
Okay, because
I don't have anyone to pass on to, and I don't mean like things, although I do have things that I would like to pass on. But I mean, I have nieces and nephews and siblings I could potentially give those things to. Um, but I don't have. I feel like I'm gonna sound cockier than I actually intend when I say this, but I feel like I have a lot of knowledge on certain topics that I could pass on that I'm not getting the opportunity to do. I'm not saying I'm all knowing on everything, because I am far, far from it. But yeah, you tease me about other stuff, but you also would acknowledge I'm fairly knowledgeable when it comes to music. You know,
sure. Yeah.
you know, maybe not theory, but like bands and history and things like that. And I'm fairly knowledgeable when it comes to sports for the same thing, and I would love to be able to pass that knowledge on. And if somebody does have a disability, I could pass that knowledge on how to deal with it. I have a cousin who's dealing with MD. I think it is. I'm pretty sure it's MD. I always get MD and MS confused, and I know they're not identical, and I get that. I'm not saying they're equivalent, but in terms of like which one she has, I always get it wrong. So my apologies there in case she's listening, because it's possible. Um, but and that is a degenerative condition, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So as she's learning to have to adjust to life as her body's failing her, she has come to me and said, "Hey, how did you handle this?"
Right.
Most recently, like slicing a bagel in half to put into the toaster oven. You know, just little things like that. So
Yeah.
and so
So
I
how
can.
do you do that?
So there's actually a thing you can get. My mom actually found it years ago, and this is well before Amazon existed. But you can find it on Amazon now because I found it from my cousin. But it's a wooden block. It might even be cedar. I don't think it really matters what the wood is, but it it,
Mhm.
it has like a cutout in it. It's got two cutouts. So one's like a shape to put the bagel in, but there's another cutout that's enough that if the thing can hold the bagel for you while you
Yeah.
try to slice the knife, and then there's a groove in there to put the knife completely through and be able to cut the bagel in half.
Mhm.
And so I suggested that to her, and she bought one, and she said it works beautifully. So I'm really happy for her. I've actually struggled with that too. I can't get it to use, but see, here's the difference. Well, she's definitely having issues, and I am not taking that away. I don't think she's having coordination issues. Like I still have coordination issues. That's a big problem with me is I can't independently move my one hand from the other in terms of fine motor skills.
Okay.
So holding that bagel box, for lack of a better word, because I don't know what the name of the thing is, in place while I try to cut it with the good hand doesn't go well because my left hand wants to move in the same motion that I'm moving the right hand to cut the bagel with. So the box starts moving. Like I can't.
So can you find something that's more stationary where you don't have to hold it?
I mean, I guess I could. I haven't looked, or I could maybe
Yeah.
get one of those mats you see in like tool benches. That's the other thing that I've learned how to do in general is be very adaptive to
Mhm.
to
Yeah.
life and sometimes use things for purposes that they weren't actually made for, but that they somehow end up helping me. So
Yeah.
like like this mat, like I would get a mat, maybe like the mat, like I was talking about, maybe put it down on the countertop and then put that box on top of the countertop, on top of the mat, excuse me, and that would kind of. I don't think it would secure it in place, but it would definitely lock it down more so than just say on the countertop or whatever. So things like that. But I also have things that are designed as they are. Like I have a pasta pot that the lid actually locks onto, and the strainer's built into the top of the lid, and you can just flip the whole pot over into the sink, and it drains the water out without having to like bounce it into a colander or something else. And there are other ones out there where the strainer's on the side of the lid where you have to lift the lid up a little bit to get the straining function. Like I can't do that either. This one locks into place and you can flip it completely over and shake it and it's not coming off. So,
That's pretty neat.
yeah, it's an expensive pot. It's like for 5 quarts, it's like an $80 pot or something. But to me, it's worth it because of what it does.
Well,
Like
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Well,
it's
that's
a
the
thing.
other thing is like a lot of this stuff is on the pricier side
Sure,
to
sure.
for adaptations and stuff for people with disabilities, which to me is insane because somebody who doesn't specifically need it, like they're just like, oh, this is cool, let me just buy it. Like
Right.
they don't care about spending the $80 price tag because it's not a necessity. It's like it's it's a cool gadget.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you're right because most people, not all. I need to be very clear. This is not a blanket statement, but most people on disabilities are on a limited income of some sort because it's hard for them to hold down jobs. So,
Mhm. Yeah.
I've gotten fortunate that with my condition, I can work a standard 40-hour a week job. Now, I'm not doing hard labor. Like I'm
Yeah.
not going to be building, buildings anytime soon. And I'm not, I'm going to be try to be as vague as I can about this. But like your husband used to manage a distribution center. I think that's
Mhm.
the best way I can say it without getting more specific, right? Because I know
Mhm.
we're trying to, yeah. And I couldn't, not that I would have, because I don't think he'd want me to, but I couldn't have worked for him in that building, unless I was in a
Yeah.
managerial role, for that reason. It's not, and it sucks because I enjoy stuff like cars. I wish I could work on cars. You know,
Right.
I used to say when I was in my late teens, early 20s that if I didn't have this thing, I probably would have worked 2 jobs because I would have wanted to do them equally.
Mm.
I'm as much as I like cars and I like engines, I like even more sound systems in cars. So like I probably would have worked for one of those companies where, like, if you want like crazy sub cars, stereo systems, that I could install those, and I would do that by day, and I would probably have been a bartender by night
Yeah.
because obviously I like to talk. So why not get paid for it while I can hand out some drinks and get to meet people? You know what I mean? Like that sounds like a ton of fucking fun to me. It still sounds fun to this day. I just think it would be hard to do it 40, 46, even if I didn't have the condition. There might be, it might start getting a little tricky on the body, but for sure, I would have done that in my 20s if I didn't have to deal with this stupid thing.
Yeah. Yeah. That's tough.
Yeah. I mean, it has had its limitations. I will tell you right now, you know this, but the audience may not. When I was diagnosed, even with the CP, they said I would never walk, talk, or potty train.
I do remember that, and actually, you weren't the one to tell me that. That was your mom.
Yeah, I'm sure she did. She used to talk about it. She talks about it all the time. I would say I pulled off 2 of the 3 pretty well.
Well, depends on.
Depends is the key word there, Jules. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, is that what's helping you keep it together?
Right. No. All jokes aside. No, I mean, I've honestly been, successful at handling all 3. And doing well with it. I've definitely had to make adaptations to all 3 in some capacity. I definitely went to speech therapy when I was I don't know, a toddler, but like young,
But was it that they thought that you couldn't talk, like physically, or was it just a? So is it just a? Did they think that you couldn't talk because you were like physically incapable, or because it was like a mental thing that they thought that your not intelligence, but your mental capabilities were
it wouldn't develop, right? Yeah.
Right.
I honestly don't know the answer to that question, Jules. I'm sorry. I wish I could tell you, because I don't. The walking thing, I can tell you, they thought I wouldn't physically be able to pull it off. The other 2 pieces, I'm not sure why it was those 3 specific items that were mentioned. But it that's what they said. But I will tell you, you mentioned my mom's the one that told you that when.
Yes.
And my mom, for those of you who may not have heard previous runs of the show, my mom is a stubborn ass Irish woman. And my mom, you've met my mom, you've spent time around my mom, Jules, she's not one to fuck with at all.
No, she's not.
And loving is all. I don't want to paint a bad picture of her. She's an amazingly loving woman, but do not tell her something can't be done. Like, don't tell her that, because she's gonna pull it off. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
She was determined that I would do all 3 of them. And it's funny because now at 46, he's been long gone, but a long time ago, the doctor who had originally diagnosed me passed away. And listen, my mom can get a vicious streak in her. She's a kind woman, but she can get a vicious. She told me I should go pee on the dude's grave to prove a point.
Well, at least you got one of the things he said you couldn't do down.
Right. Which one?
Well, the peeing. If you're gonna go pee on his grave.
No, the point was that I had enough control that I could go do it. I think that's what her point was.
Right. I'm saying at least you got one of those things down.
Yeah, I mean, I might limp my way over there, but I can still do it. In any event, but yeah, and it's so funny because she then wanted, when I got the correct diagnosis, she wanted to sue his estate for malpractice, which I had to talk her out of because the treatment would have been no different.
Yeah, I guess not, right? Because
Yeah,
it's
there would have been nothing differently that could have been done with the correct diagnosis. Nothing. Everything would have been identically the same as it happened. We just would have known
right,
the actual
exactly.
truth. Yeah. So I mean, she was just angry and hyped up. And once I calmed her down, she was, you know, because she's also a very, as you also know, she's a very intelligent and rational person when she's calm. And so once I calmed her down, she was like, "Yeah, you're right. There's nothing we would get.
Yeah,
There,
yeah.
there would be zero benefit to it. Like if there could have been like a procedure that they could have done
But
when I was
yeah.
a, then maybe, but there's not. You know, the irony. Actually, I don't even know if you know this. There is a procedure to fix when it was CP that I could have had done. Like it was developed long after I was a child. I would have been an adult when I could have had it done in any way.
Yeah.
But it's a 50-50 success rate and a 50-50 mortality rate. I was like, no, hard pass. Thank you. I'm good. You know,
Is it like a
um,
brain
yeah, it's
surgery?
no,
Is
it's
that
yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, uh, there's not surgery for what I have. Either way, I still don't think I don't want anyone poking around in my brain unless there's 100% success rate. If I'm being honest with you, you know. So,
well, I guess you certainly don't want them to do a robotic surgery, given your
I would be okay with transferring my consciousness into a robot because I'd be controlling the robot. That's different
Oh
than
wow.
AI. That's different
That's
than
not the
AI.
that is not.
It is. It is different. It's a human being controlling a machine, not the other way around.
Move on. And I would argue that it's a human being controlling AI anyway. It's not tantamount
For
to, I
now,
mean, you telling a child to go fetch you a beer and
for
them
now,
doing it.
for now.
Well, when the kid realizes that you're using them and they come back and throw the beer at your head, then sure.
Same thing with the robot that's controlled by AI. I'm just saying.
Oh
Um,
wow. Anyway, moving right along.
you brought it up. I'm not. I'm not. Listen,
You brought it up. You said that.
um. So yeah, I think that covers the bulk of the condition. I mean, is there anything you wanted to know that I didn't touch on, or do you think I need something you know that I didn't bring up that I should inform the audience of?
I'm trying to think and no.
I mean, there's definitely been limitations to things. You know what I mean? Like, again, I like
Yeah.
cars. I'm never driving a stick shift. That is not a thing that's going to happen in my lifetime for me. You know.
Well, good
Um.
thing that AI is
Oh, stop it. Um. But
uh,
but at the same time, in the last like 20 years, they developed Tiptronic shifting, which is where you don't need to press a clutch and you can still move the gear shift into different gears. So I've gotten to experience what it's like to do it without having to actually worry about it. Because that's the issue. It's that clutch, holding the clutch with the foot while moving the gear shift that would be the problem. You know, so because there's got to
right,
be
yeah.
very precise timing on how you do that. You know what I mean? So, and I don't have the dexterity to get that precision for that kind of thing. Whereas with Tiptronic shifting, for those of you not familiar with it, there's no clutch. It's not even a pure gear shift because it's usually just up and down, but it's still I mean, what's nice about the Tiptronic shifting is that you don't need the clutch. So you can, and it's not traditional in the sense you're moving in like the H-shaped gearbox, but like you can at least still shift up and down using, a lot of times it's paddles on the steering wheel, but a couple cars still have it in the actual on the stick shift itself. Like I had a Mitsubishi Evo, man, I missed that car. and that had it. I loved the blue car. Remember that blue car that I had for a number of years?
Vaguely, but yes.
Yeah, it that had that, and it was actually a racing one where to shift up, you actually pulled the stick down like towards you. So it was like this kind of motion, and then we pushed it up to downshift. So which is typical in like a rally car. So like you really felt like you were like driving a race car when you drove this
Wait,
thing.
that wasn't the one you got in the
No, no.
bad car accident in.
Well, there's been several of those, but no, none. That was not one
Well,
of them.
the one that landed you in the hospital for 2 weeks.
4 days, but yes.
Was it 4 days? It
It
wasn't
was
four
four.
days.
It was 4 days.
Yeah, they probably kicked you out sooner than they should have then.
Oh, I was not allowed to work for 3 months, but I was safe to be released from the hospital after 4 days. So,
Sure.
but yeah, no, that was not that car. So, but yeah, driving in general is fine. Like I fortunately don't need like the handle on the steering wheel like some people do. Not saying it's a bad thing, but I just don't need it. So that's nice.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I need power steering, but I don't think there's any cars that don't come with power steering at this point. Although in our lifetime there were cars that came without power steering, but I don't think that's a real thing these days. So that's not really a problem. And actually, the greatest car invention for me in terms of just day-to-day functionality is actually the keyless entry. That has made navigating around the car easier for me. Like if I'm carrying something out to the car, it makes it easier to navigate all that kind of thing now. Like if I have to carry something to and from the car. So, but yeah, so that's a nutshell. I say a nutshell 45 minutes later. My condition and the things that I deal with, and that's at a high level. I'm sure we can get into more of it if you think of things or want to talk about more about it. But I mean, I know you've faced your own health issues over the last 10 years. They kind of started before that, but they really kind of took hold in the last 10 years, right?
It did, yeah. So, well, here's the thing. I have never known what my true condition is because every time I'd go to a doctor, they would just say, it's this. And then they would do certain tests or whatever. And then they're like, nope, it's not what we thought.
Well, I mean, all right, so correct. I mean, obviously, like, here's the problem. I've been out of your life for a number of years, as we've already discussed, right? But I thought it was just diabetes. Am I incorrect about that? Because I know you have blood sugar things going on, but
I do, but that's not been the the beginning of it. Like when we were still friends and stuff.
Like we're not now. I love how we fucking hate you.
You know what I mean? Like before
I do. Yeah. Before the ghosting, yes, I'm aware. Thank you.
Before your ghosting days.
Jesus Christ. I need more wine.
Well, it looks like you have a whole bottle there, so enjoy.
It's not a whole bottle, but it's pretty full. Yeah.
Yeah, so I started having, I mean, yes, everybody in my family has diabetes and heart problems and stuff like that.
Your brothers too?
But no, not my brothers.
Is it limited to the female side of the family?
All of my mom's brothers.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've.
So you mean your dad actually contributed a good thing to your brothers by helping them avoid this shit?
Great. I didn't get any of that immunity, so um but yeah. But before that, I always had stuff like suffered from like migraines, like bad ones, to the point where there were times where
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, like I blacked out literally a few times when I was like a teenager. My mom would just come into my room
Yeah,
and
yeah.
be like, I've been calling you for like 20 minutes. Have you been sleeping this whole time? I'm like, I didn't realize I was even asleep.
Yeah, that's lovely.
Yeah, and I'm a light sleeper. Like anybody will tell you, like if you make any sort of sound,
I
I'm a light
mean,
sleeper.
I mean, yes and no.
What does that mean?
I've seen evidence that to counters that. That's why I said it.
Such as?
There were times we'd be in the excuse me, in the basement playing in Jersey before you all moved, where your husband and I would be playing games, and you would be passed out because most times you did, and it was more due to the hour than anything else. But um, and we both know your husband's not exactly the quietest gamer,
Yes.
and he would
Yeah,
react
but I'm
sometimes, and
used
you
to,
would.
but that's something I was used to.
So
Does that
you
make
so be
sense?
I mean, it was still loud right next to you, though. So I wouldn't. That's why I'm saying, you know.
Yeah, but I guess my point is if it's like a new sound
Okay,
that
see, that's different, though. I think, but
right.
yes, yeah. Okay, fair enough.
So like if my mom, for example, if my mom was calling me for like, and she's loud. She's not
Yeah,
like
shit. No, I've heard
quiet.
your mom. Yes,
Okay.
she,
So
it's
if
also
she
got a
was,
very interesting tone to her. I don't mean that to put her down, but it like resonates in a weird way. Like it.
it is
Yeah,
what it is.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
then if I had heard that, I would probably wake up, most likely, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
if
yeah.
the fact that I didn't even realize I was asleep, like I legit passed out from a migraine.
Fair
Um,
enough.
Now, oddly, more recently, um, I haven't had terrible migraines like that. Like they've started, but
Okay.
they haven't gotten to a point where I I there were times where I was in bed with a migraine and couldn't even like lift my head
So
even.
yeah, no,
So,
I'm not trying to take the conversation off you, Jules, and it's not about me, but and I know he's not going to carry me talking about this, but Rico, my co-host from Potaskew, used to have really bad, and still has really bad migraines. Um, to the point that what was it? The longest one that he had while I was in constant contact with him, because we had a brief falling out, but we reconciled. But like when we were doing the show on the regular, I think he had one that lasted 10 days. Like he
yeah, they can
couldn't,
last a long
yeah,
time.
he could
Yeah.
not shake that thing. Now, ironically, and I wonder, and I just put this together literally as I was talking. He ultimately developed diabetes as well, and I'm wondering if there's
They
a
That's why I'm
correlation.
saying, yeah. That's why I'm saying like I don't know what the ultimate diagnosis would be because as you know, migraines and diabetes don't they
They
don't
don't link up
connect.
like that. Yeah, no.
No, no. Those are two different systems at play. Like one's a nervous system, one's a endocrine system. They don't play together like that.
But I wonder if there is some, and maybe it hasn't been discovered yet. But I wonder if there's like a connection to, um, it's not this, but like serotonin. Like there's a way that there's a connection in that regard. Serotonin is not it. I'm sure of it. But do you know what I mean? Like that kind of a thing, because serotonin causes a chemical reaction in the brain, right? So in that same vein, I wonder if there's something with the blood sugar that's causing blood vessel contraction, which would cause the migraine.
Yeah. So I
sorry, I just spit yes.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I'm not a medical professional.
Yeah, me neither. And I've been to quite a few of them, and they're all like, this has nothing to do. Like I actually recently went to a neurologist because migraines. Because a lot of like my GP kind of said, hey, go see a neurologist just to like figure out where these migraines are coming from. And actually, when I go to see my endocrinologist for my diabetes, he does like a neuropathy test to see if there's any like neuropathy in like your hands or your feet, because obviously diabetes can deteriorate your nerves
if not treated correctly. Yes.
So that's what he's kind of testing it for, is just, and then from there, if he finds something, he just goes and says, go see your GP or a neurologist or somebody who deals with the nervous system, because they got to give you some guidance on that. So
remind me, I got a funny story about urgent care, but I don't want to interrupt yours, but I have a funny urgent care story at some point that I should tell.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So so I went to the neurologist, and she turned to me and said, I'm not seeing neuropathy in your hands or your feet, so I'm not seeing why you have, because I do have like times where, like, say I'm holding this.
Yeah.
Totally.
She's holding the beer can for people to.
Yeah, I'm holding like my beer can, and I'll be holding it completely normal like this and have a tight grip as I do now.
It'll just drop out.
And and
welcome to my world.
Right, but that's you would assume that that's a neuropathy.
I mean, yeah.
But then when I go to the neurologist, she's like, I'm not seeing it except for in your back, because I have not severe, but like moderate scoliosis in my back. Right. So she kind of said to me, that's probably where your migraines are coming from, where that intermittent neuropathy may play out. And so that's where but she's like, it has nothing to do with your diabetes in any way.
Yeah. But at least it explains the one piece a little bit,
But I think the time when it came to a head was when we first moved here. I want to say.
Don't all the migraines go to your head?
Yes, they go to my head.
Okay. Okay, it was bad. I get it.
It wasn't even a dad joke. That's how bad that was. So when we first moved here to Florida.
I was going to say, you're not there.
We're not there. We're not here. Because if you recall, when when we moved, I had gotten very into running races.
Hence your
And
T-shirt.
yes, hence my t-shirt. And we were my husband and I, we were like into like the Disney races
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
quite a while. We were doing the half marathons, which I still think we were crazy, but they were fun. And
Why are you crazy?
half marathon, that's 13.2 miles.
I know. I'm aware. Do
Okay.
you actually, do you remember? I'm not trying to change the subject, but do you remember this actually happened on a previous recording of the hamster wheel? I wish we had the episode because I know we don't. But you and I got into an argument about 5 kilometers being 5 miles. You were adamant that 5 miles and 5 kilometers or 5K was 5 miles. That's what it was. Not that 5 kilometers, but that a 5K was 5 miles.
Yeah, but it felt like 5 miles. So
I'm sure. No, I'm sure it did. But you were adamant that because I distinctly remembered asking you how many miles is 5 because I didn't know. I still don't think I still don't know probably.
it's
And 3
3.1
points.
miles.
Yeah, I think I looked it up since then, but it's like 3 point
Yeah.
something, right? Yeah. So, but I
3.1.
I said it to you on the recording, and you were like, "It's 5 miles," and I'm like, "No, no." That's the one thing I did know. It's like no, and you were adamant as fuck until I think I pulled it up on my phone during the recording and said, "Nope, it's not." But I remember that from the previous go around of the show. I'm not making fun of you. It's just funny story.
Except that you are. But anyway.
You know what? You do it to me all the time. I'm allowed one from time to time.
Enjoy.
I will.
Enjoy
Thank
it.
you.
Um,
I drink way more on this show than I do even in my own regular life. Do you know that?
somehow I doubt that's true. But
No.
whatever. Believe what you want.
Okay. Anyway, finish your story.
Anyway, we were into running, and I
Half marathon is what you were at.
Yeah, so we actually and we would always just sign up every April for the half marathon. And I remember going out and trying to run I think I was trying to hit like 8 miles in a practice run.
Were you trying to meet up with M&M?
Yes, 8 mile.
Okay.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And
I'm going to keep them coming.
They're still barely dad jokes.
That's all right. I'm barely a dad.
Well, there you go. And I went out.
This might be our worst episode.
Yeah, because you can't let me get a word in edgewise.
Sorry, go ahead.
So I went in and so I went out, ran I think I got 4 miles in.
Okay.
And I started like feeling really crappy. And
no, seriously, I'm not interrupting your. That happened in Jersey, right? Or is this after you went?
No, this is when we first moved.
I remember something similar happening, at least from what you're starting to describe. That's why I asked. So go ahead. Yeah.
And so I finished the run, but I came home and I just felt horrible. It was one of those things where you're like, okay, it's not the first time I've run 8 miles in humid weather
That's Florida. Yeah.
Yeah. And certainly because it wasn't the first race we had done there. It was after that.
Right.
So I just I came home and I think I like passed out. Like, I don't know if it was a legitimate like passed out, or I was just super tired, but I felt horrible. And like a couple days later, started running a fever, and then I started getting a cough.
Oh.
And I went to my GP at the time because I have a different one now, and said, "Hey, I've been running a fever for like 5 days now, and it's at 102 consistently. Like, can't bring this shit down."
Hmm.
And they gave me a script to go get an X-ray done, but at the same time they gave me antibiotics because she was like, "It sounds like you have bronchitis. You're wheezing."
Right.
Um, and I wound up having pneumonia.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, so that was fun. And so obviously I couldn't run.
I'm not making a joke. I'm legitimately curious. Is it um was it related? Like, did the running cause it?
Unclear,
Okay. I'm not. I'm
right?
not. I'm not saying. I'm not using that as
Unclear.
like, okay, running is something you shouldn't do or any stupid shit like that. I'm just wondering, like, or it just happened to hit you while you were on the run.
I mean, I've had pneumonia since like I'm very susceptible to pneumonia because I had pneumonia at like 6 years old, 6 months old.
Mm.
So, and here's the interesting fact is I was also born 3 months too early.
A month. So I'm with you. Early arriver club.
Right, but if you were now 3 months is, while it's kind of a big deal, it's not as big a deal as it
Sure.
was
Sure.
when we
When you
were
were born. Yeah.
born, because now they kind of preemies are not like, an anomaly anymore. They're kind of
It still
frequent.
depends. Like what did I just heard a story the other day about a kid who was born 12 weeks early and actually got
Wait,
pneumonia.
you heard a story about what?
A kid who was born 12 weeks early and actually developed pneumonia and was like close to death till they figured out it was pneumonia. And once they did, he's fine. He's fine now. I mean, he's tiny still, but he's fine otherwise. So,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's pretty much how it happened with me. Is my mom kind of said, "Hey, um, what's this child has blue lips." Like, I got blue lips before anybody was like, she was like, "What's going on with her? She doesn't lift her head." Like, there were signs, and she would take me to the doctor, and then finally they she took me to the one doctor that figured it out and said, "So here's the thing, your daughter's going to continue developing pneumonia because," um, and I forget what it's called because it's like a crazy ass name
mm,
or long name, but essentially when you're born, there's a valve or a, a tube or something that links from your heart to your lungs. And so when you take your first breath when you're born, it's supposed to seal and close immediately. Never did. They had to
I
go
remember,
in and
yes.
surgically, yeah, so they had to go in and surgically close that off. And at the time, there was only one doctor in the entire United States that knew how to do that on an infant, and he had only done it one other time on a premature child who was 1 year old. And So he
So
had to
your
do
odds
it
were
on
good.
me. Yeah, my odds were great. But he had to do it on me at 6 months old because they kind of said to my mom, if she doesn't have this surgery soon, the chances of her making it are very slim, because if she continues to get pneumonia repetitively, she's not going to be able to breathe on her own.
I wonder who I'd be running the hamster wheel with.
Not me.
Go ahead.
So, so that being said, I had developed the pneumonia, and I think and because of that, because I couldn't run anymore, I couldn't do certain things. Um, when I'd go to the doctor for, like, random checkups, um, they always check your sugar, and he's like, "Yeah, your sugar's kind of creeping up." And I'm like, "Yeah, because I can't exercise." Like,
Right, right.
he's like, "Yeah, but you do realize that that's not normal, right?" Like, what it tells me is that you're gonna get diabetes eventually, because
Huh.
so yeah. Now the other component is after that, um, right, I want to say right around COVID, uh, I was, and this was before I was diagnosed with the diabetes even.
Wait, can we pause there for a second? Not the actual recording, but like the story for a second. In
Yeah.
that, legit question? Like I know I've been kind of making the little comments and having fun, but like legit question. Would all of that history made you potentially more susceptible to COVID? Now I know you got it because you told the story during the PTA recording, but like would that have made you more susceptible and potentially more what's the word I want to use? I can't think of the word I want to use, and I apologize. But like, a lot of people passed away from COVID, and a lot of people got it and were fine. I'm not saying I'm not having that war about how severe COVID was in general. I'm just saying there are some people that came out of it just fine, and then other people who obviously did not. Were you more susceptible to that side of it? I guess is the word I'm looking for because of that history.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I think, like, my doctor actually, all of my doctors were like, don't come to the office, like,
Just go right
because
to the ER.
yeah, they were like,
Oh, don't
don't.
come because there's a chance of getting it, you mean?
Right.
Gotcha,
But
gotcha.
also, like even there were times where they were like, unless it's truly an emergency, don't go anywhere, just stay where you are, and we can talk through options so that you don't get it,
So,
or that you minimize the risk of getting it,
so
really,
just to
because
quickly expand on that, when you did finally get it, as again you mentioned in the PTA episode.
oh, I had long COVID. Like, I got sick in April. I didn't fully completely recover until August.
Okay.
Like, I was mostly in
But
bed. I was mostly,
what was the, I guess, the concern level of once you finally actually had it? Like what was the concern level of survival? Like because I mean, look, again, I'm not trying to get into and I say this more for the audience and for you, but I'm not trying to get into the whole like, because there's all kinds of conspiracy shit about COVID out there. I'm not going there. Is kind of what I'm saying. You know what I mean? But like it did. especially after the first round of vaccines. Well, it mutated. It became less. It's slowly become less severe than its original
Yeah.
version. You know,
Well,
so
I had already had the vaccine before I'd gotten it.
okay, so that
Yeah.
kind of answers the question then, in the
Yeah.
sense of like you've already had some protection and also probably got one of the lesser severe. I'm not saying you didn't suffer, and I'm not saying you didn't go through those 4 months, but compared to like the original strain that was out when they shut the world down.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
But but around that time, I had it was, I want to say, a few months after my father-in-law passed away. I remember sitting, eating my breakfast, and I literally just felt crappy all over again.
Mm,
And but it was different. It was
okay.
like I had I couldn't breathe and my chest was hurting, and I remember running upstairs thinking, "Oh, I have to go to the bathroom." I don't know
Mm.
why. And
I mean,
and I took him, I went, and I remember um my husband was working from home at the time, and I yelled for him. I was like, "There's something's not right. I don't feel good. I feel like something's, like my heart is racing, and my arm is numb, and all these symptoms pointing towards a heart attack, right?"
sure. Yeah, yeah.
And so he said, "Here, call like the, medical hotline and ask them for advice," because obviously at the time they were like, and they were saying like, if you don't have to go to the hospital, please
Don't.
don't.
Yeah, yeah.
So I called and I said, "These are my symptoms," and the nurse on the phone said, "Get your ass to the hospital. Either we're calling you an ambulance or somebody's taking you, but you're going. Like, you have to,
Right.
because it sounds like a heart attack."
I mean, it
And
does
I was
based on what you're describing. Yeah.
right. So I go, and 6 hours later, they're like, "You didn't have a heart attack, but you're really tachycardic. Like, I mean, your heart rate is still elevated, and you've been here for 6 hours, like laying in a bed doing nothing,
Right.
and your heart rate's already it's steady at 110 the entire time." So they were like, "You got to go see a cardiologist." So I went, and he obviously did all the things.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Yeah, you have cardiomyopathy. We normally see that in patients who have had COVID or some other, like, like strep throat, like you get rheumatic fever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, that's the kind of, you would get like a heart valve regurgitation from that." And so,
Do you think any of that's from the stuff from when you were a preemie?
well, I had asked him that. I said, "Do you think that is related in any way?" He was like, "No, that's closed off. It wouldn't affect anything at all.
I mean,
Not now, anyway."
unless, and I'm going to use the wrong word here, but unless it was done wrong. Like, obviously, it was done right enough to keep you alive. Yay for that. But, like, I mean, if it, you know what I
Um,
mean? So,
yeah. I don't know the answer to that question, because
well, yeah, I
every
think it was
doctor I
more.
yeah, Every doctor
It's
I've
more
been to kind of
rhetorical.
says, while it's in the heart area, and I did have open heart surgery at the time
Right.
because that's,
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, not open in my chest, like he went through my back, which is interesting. Because he didn't want to have a scar on my chest, and the scar on my back is tiny, but
I was
you
gonna
can
say. I
see
mean,
it.
you were
You
pretty
can
tiny
see
at
it
the
if,
time, so
right,
it's probably yeah. I
yeah.
mean,
But it's there. You can see it if you're looking, right?
I've never seen you without a shirt on, so I have to trust you.
Yeah, well, I never seen my back either when with no shirt on.
Fair.
So,
Fair.
um,
Although I think the likelihood of you seeing yourself without a shirt on is a lot higher than me seeing you without
sure,
it.
yeah, but that doesn't tell me what my back looks like.
That's fair. Yeah, yeah.
Um,
That's what your husband's for.
yeah. So he likes my back, so I guess
Yeah, there you go.
it's not affecting anything.
That
Um,
sounded way worse than I think you meant it to, but that's okay. Go ahead.
so yeah, so the cardiomyopathy, and the thing is that between that and while I was at the hospital, I looked at my chart and I asked the attending at the time, I said, okay, I mean, I get the whole heart issue thing because that's what I came in here for,
Right.
but is no one going to address the uh, potential diabetes diagnosis here? And he was like, what do you mean? I said, I came here, I've been here for 6 hours. I haven't eaten anything. Like, I literally didn't even finish my breakfast because I went to the
Right.
bathroom to basically vomit.
Right.
So at that point, do you think that a blood sugar of 165 is warranted for someone who's eaten zero things in the last 6 hours? And he was like, well, that could be anything. Like, he basically saying, I don't really care because that's not going to kill you right now, so I don't fucking care kind of
I mean,
deal.
I mean, if there's fear that there's something more prevalent that's going to kill you imminently, I would figure
Yeah.
they're going to focus on that. Although, I mean,
Right.
not to that specific incidents in the hospital, Jules, but like I know that when you were pregnant, especially with the second and third child, you had gestational diabetes. So like
I had it with all of them.
I thought it wasn't diagnosed until the second.
No,
Did I
it was, yeah,
misremember that? Okay.
yeah. I had it with all of them. In fact, it was diagnosed with my first, and they wound up, talk about malpractice suits. They wound up giving me a medicine, uh, because my sugar was really bad with her.
Right.
Uh, they wound up giving me a medicine that was not approved for pregnant women, which I
Whoopsie.
which I found out after I left that practice and went to a different one, and and in that second practice with my second one, my second child, I also had diabetes because I disclosed obviously that to her. So she
Right.
asked me to go see an endocrinologist because she said, listen, I don't do that kind of high risk. I don't know how to like guide you through like a gestational diabetes. I can only diagnose it and send you to somebody who knows better kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so when I went to that guy and said, "Hey, this is the medicines that they had me on before," he kind of looked at me and he was like, "You're you're joking, right? And I was like, no. And he was like, you're fucking lucky that you didn't die or your baby didn't die. That that's I don't even know why they would ever fucking put you on that shit. And I was like, all right, fair enough.
Yeah. So but my point to bringing that up though, not that that's not important information, right? What you were just sharing, but is does I want to make sure I phrase this question correctly. Wasn't it almost inevitable that you would have developed full blown diabetes because of that?
Oh
Not
yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, even my GP at the time, when my GP at the time, basically said to me, um, because I was pregnant, when I was seeing him, he said to me, okay, first one, okay, that's not an indicator. Second and third pregnancies, if you had gestational diabetes with all three of them, he was like, you need to work your ass off to try to prolong getting diabetes because you will get it.
Is that
It's
part of the
not a
reason
matter
why
of what's
Go ahead.
that?
No, finish your point. I thought you were done. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
he just said it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when
So is
for
that
you.
part of the reason why you took up the running when you did?
Yes,
Yeah.
because it was after my third was
Yeah.
born, and I remembered feeling like just crappy, just horribly
Yeah.
crappy. And so I started running. Well, I started walking first, and then I was like, it's not enough. Like, it's not doing enough. So that's when I started the running, and it seemed to kind of put things at bay. But then
Right.
COVID happened,
Yeah.
life happened,
Oh,
and
did you
then I
were you,
couldn't.
were you running up till COVID?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, because, and this is
I mean,
the
obviously, I know why COVID stopped it, but I didn't realize you would.
well, because remember when I had gotten pneumonia, I couldn't run for,
Yes.
and but I still had a race that we had signed up to do because we signed up for, you sign up for the races, like you have to do it early. Like I think they open up something, if it's an April race, they open them up at like in September or something.
Oh, wow. That
So
is far. Yeah.
yeah, so I we had just signed up for the race before I got sick.
Right.
So I wound up going, I was sick with pneumonia from September. It was like the end of September, which I felt horrible for because, you know, um, my daughter's birthday is in September,
Yeah.
and I couldn't do anything for her birthday. Not a party, not nothing.
What, I mean, what age was that? Not that the age makes a difference, but some of them are significant. That's why I asked.
I don't know. I think she was 10 or 11.
Okay, I'm not saying that's not important, but it's not like
But
Sweet 16 or
yeah,
18th or one of
no,
those
no, it
milestones. Yeah.
wasn't those, but still, I mean,
No, I get. It. I'm not dismissing it. I just was wondering
yeah.
if it. Yeah.
I mean, even my son, I was still sick in December. I was still sick in January. I was still sick
Right.
in February.
Yeah, but your husband's birthday is not important anymore. So.
Nice. I was still sick. No, I was still sick in March,
Oh, I believe you. Yeah.
which if you're getting ready to run 13 miles and you haven't run 8 miles since, even 8 miles
Oh,
since,
please.
like, what was it? August was the last time I was able to truly run. Then, there was no way that I was. He actually, the hubby turned to me and he was like, we can just forfeit, not run the race. We can just go
Right.
and walk around or whatever. And I said, no, fuck that. We're going. And I went and I said, even if I have to walk this whole fucking bitch and the balloon ladies catch us, I'm going and doing this race. And I trained. I finally, I think it was January, I kind of went to the pulmonologist and said, how's my breathing? I was like, you got to get my breathing back. And he was like, why? What's the hurry? And I said, I have a race in April. He was like, I don't want you running. I barely want you walking, but I don't want you running.
And you said, fuck that.
And I said, fix my breathing so I can go run. And he was like, you don't realize that that's not how this works, right? Like, and I mean, I was on different steroids, I was on different inhalers, I was on all kinds of stuff. And finally, like, I want to say,
this is not how this works.
Yeah. He was an asshole, but he told you when something was not right, you know?
I don't know if that's really an asshole. That feels like common sense, actually.
Yeah, but I mean, he could have had a better bedside manner, is all I'm saying.
I guess, yeah.
So, but he did call me on my bullshit though, because there, like, I would go in and he would make me do like these breathing tests and stuff, and he would turn to me. He was like, "Have you been walking?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "What did I say about that?"
Yeah.
He was like, "You know how I can tell that you've been walking?" And I'm like, "How?" And he was like, "Because your breathing fucking sucks. That's how."
Did he say it that way? That's fantastic.
No, he didn't say it that way.
Oh, damn it.
But
That would have been amazing.
I'm putting my own flair.
I want a doctor that puts it that way. Like, seriously.
Yeah, so sorry, my dog just told me clear across the room. Hey,
For those of
out
you
of
watching on YouTube, Julie just did a magic trick and disappeared.
Leave it. I have to hold my dog for a few minutes.
No worries.
Wow.
No worries. We're on the fly tonight, Jules. It's a little bit different. It's all good. So
Yeah, I almost did fly just now.
yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
Stop pulling. Relax. Relax, baby girl. Relax. Don't do it. Sit down. Go girl. Yes, yes, I'll go girl. I don't think you guys can see her exactly, but
No, you can't. You saw the leash briefly, but that's it.
yeah. But she's the wild one. Anyway. But yeah, so
your breathing fucking sucks, Jules.
My breathing fucking sucks. And I think he wound up at the beginning of March giving me the all clear and saying, "Hey, you're good to go. You're breathing. You don't need to see me unless you stop breathing."
I feel like that's kind of irrelevant at that point, but sure.
And no chewing on my medicine. No, thank you. You gotta relax, baby girl. Sorry. So anyway, as soon as he gave me the all clear, I started walking and then running. And he actually, when he was like, I know I'm gonna regret this, but because you're gonna go right out there and run and you're gonna fucking hurt yourself, but go. You are officially able to go kill yourself at your
Be
own risk.
free. Run.
Be free. Run. Die. Come back here.
When you stop breathing, come back.
When you stop breathing. Yeah. And so I went and I ran the race. And as he suggested, I did injure myself pretty badly.
Oh, Jesus.
I actually came back and a couple days after the race, could not walk. My back hurt so bad.
Yeah.
And to the point where I started to go to the gym because I was like, I have to like get my strength back up in my back and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that, and I started seeing a chiropractor because my back was bothering me. And at one point I went out for like a 4-mile run because I signed up for another race.
Of course you did.
Of course I did. I signed up for another race, and I did 4 miles, and I came back and I couldn't walk because my back was so inflamed. And so when I went to the chiropractor, he was like, why do you runners and tennis players? This is what I see all the time. Runners and tennis players, they come in here, and golf players too. They come in here and tell me fix my arm so I can go back and play, or so I can go back and run. He was like, are you crazy? So I said, yeah, can you fix my back so I can go run this race? He was like, I have no words for you. He's like, have you ever heard one of your doctors tell you that you're a horrible patient? And I was like, yeah, many times. He's like, all right, just making sure that I'm not the only special one.
You know what? As a non-medical professional, I'm glad that someone agrees with me. So
yeah, I hurt my back, which isn't really hard to do. Let's
sure.
be.
Oh no, I hurt mine too. So I get not running, but yeah. So
Okay, you gonna talk to?
Hi.
Say
For
hi.
those watching on YouTube, we have a dog on screen.
We have our puppy.
Is that Ember?
This is Ember.
Yeah.
Which is why she's on a leash, because she's a mad woman at 6 months old.
Yes.
Say hi.
Mine's asleep over there. So
yeah, she should be asleep, but they had to go out and go potty.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's fine. Yeah, so that's how I hurt my back. And so in the interim, that's why I say I don't know what the connection with all of these ailments are for me, because
right.
they have to be connected.
We know why, because you're a terrible impatient. So
I guess, but
not saying you deserve it, but that's why you can't solve the shit. Because
but once I got like those, like the heart issue and the diabetes, girl, she crazy. Sorry, that's crazy. Anyway,
hold on, Jules, you got unplugged.
I got unplugged. So yeah, I don't know how all of these ailments fit together in terms of like, there's got to be some diagnosis under there and like there that fits them all together. Like I looked up some symptoms. This is where the WebMD comes in, and you know, one of the one of the thoughts is POTS, which is
Yeah, I know someone with it. Yeah.
yeah, but it
Which
doesn't
would
fit
actually throw
it.
you into my world, believe it or not. Not necessarily my condition, but like you would be considered a person with disability at that. Well, you already are because of the diabetes. That technically falls under ADA
Well,
rules. So
yes, but also so does cardiomyopathy as well.
yes, you're right. No, you're
Yeah.
right. Absolutely. So I should touch on that when you're done, but finish your point. Yeah.
So, but the issue is that it doesn't fit the criteria 100%.
See here can I serious interjection here. Like I wonder why I don't know if it's an American thing, a human thing, or what. And I'm being legit here. Like I'm not making any jokes. And I'm guilty of this too. So I'm this is not like me sitting on my high horse saying I'm better than everybody. But like it's possible that they don't connect. It could be that you're dealing with four separate things. It sucks. It's
Oh,
shitty. I'm
yeah.
not saying it's not fun, but reality is you could be legit just dealing with four things that are not connected in any way whatsoever that you just unfortunately are dealing with.
Yes, that is true,
But
but
I
it
think in general, and I'm not saying you, Jules, but I'm saying in general, I think people, and again, I don't know if it's an American thing or a human thing, we need this one answer for everything type mentality, right? Like there's this one answer. There has to be this one answer that explains it all. No, it it may not be.
I mean, yes, I agree with that, but here's my issue is, for example, when I went to the the cardiologist
Right.
and he was in the middle of running tests and stuff. Um, he kind of said to me, I'm kind of at a loss for why you have all these things going on with your heart because I don't have an answer for how it happened.
Right.
Because unless I'm missing something, like unless there's some sort of like disease that you had prior to this, it's not adding up to you having this.
Right.
Because,
Right. Right.
but at the same time, he was like, it can be a genetic thing that it just, it's, that's what it is. Like you were born that way and that's just how it is.
Yeah, I mean,
And
again, as we said at the top of the episode, I'm not a medical professional. I'm not pretending to be one. I play one on radio, but you know, like there could be a connection that they're just not aware of to what you went through as a infant. You know,
yeah, I don't know the answer to that, but
I don't think anyone does, and I'm not saying that in a shit way to the doctors. I'm just saying they don't know.
but here's the thing is, so um as you know, you do your research once you get diagnosed with stuff, and uh it does, there is a correlation between cardiomyopathy and uncontrolled blood sugars
Mm,
could eventually deteriorate the walls of the heart enough to cause those
yeah,
kind of symptoms.
that would be bad. Yeah.
Right. But here's the thing, number one, I wasn't truly diagnosed or truly diabetic until I found it during that one ER visit,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
decided to go to an endocrinologist on my own accord. Like I didn't ask my GP like, "Hey, should I go here?" I just went. And when I went, he kind of turned to me and said, "Yeah, you're diabetic for sure. Like, I don't even have to do the blood test. I'm looking at your chart." And
There's enough evidence right here. Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
yeah, so he told me, like, "Yeah, you're diabetic." So I asked him, I said, "Is there a correlation between this and the tachycardia?" And he's like, "No, diabetes doesn't cause tachycardia this early in the stage." He said, "If you had uncontrolled blood sugars that were happening for, like, the last 20 years, yeah, I could see it.
Right.
But
Right.
but right now," he's like, "that they don't there's no correlation." So I'm like, "Then what is causing that?" He's like, "I don't know. That's the cardiologist's job to find out." And I'm
Right.
like,
That's
"That's
that's not my
fantastic."
specialty. Yeah.
I'm like, "Well, that's
So
fantastic, because then I don't know where I'm getting half of these things other than the diabetes, because that's just, I mean,
sure,
we
it's
know
family
about
history or whatever. Yeah.
that. Yeah.
So I guess I mean, are you? So many people use this for other reasons, but Ozempic started as a diabetes medication. So, like, are you on something like that or no?
I'm on, what, 6 different medicines,
Oh, okay. So, gotcha. Well, I meant
but none
specifically for
of
the
them like that.
diabetes.
Yeah. Well, yes, I'm on 2 different diabetic medicines.
Okay. Yeah. I was just wondering because, like, my Rico, who I mentioned earlier, um, he still has to watch what he's doing. He's not just blindly doing whatever, but has noticed that the Ozempic has been a big help for him in terms of his diet. It's also helped him with his weight because he was I mean, I'm not gonna lie, he was a big dude. He'll be the first to tell you that. But
Yeah.
so he's definitely lost weight as a result of it as well. But
Yeah.
but it's not why he got on it. He got on it because of the diabetes, which again is what it was originally designed for. And it
Yeah.
just happens to have the positive side effect, if you will, of also being a weight loss drug, which is what more people use it for.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so I was just wondering because I listen, you and I have known about diabetes in our entire friendship and then previous to it. I'm sure. Like I've had people in my life. I'm sure you said you got family members all over the place
Mhm.
that have dealt with it. And I would say that of a lot of the conditions that are out there, diabetes has come a long way in a positive way. Now, clearly, it's not cured, and it may not be a thing that's curable, but it's come a long way in terms of treatment. In our lifetimes. So,
Yeah, there's a lot of different medicines that now this is why I say I wish I had a diagnosis that fit all of it, is because um
you'd like to narrow down those 7 to like 2 or whatever.
well, it's more like, here's my issue, is because with diabetes they tell you um diet and exercise are
Yeah,
like your best
yeah.
friends.
Which worked for your father-in-law. I mean, I'm not saying he didn't take any medicine, but that was a big part of what got him into a healthier spot until COVID.
So here's my issue, is because of these all of these things, I can't run anymore, because what I found was, uh because believe me, I went and tried to jump on the treadmill um quite a few times to try to start getting myself back into it. And what would wound up happening was, randomly, I started feeling dizzy, lightheaded. Um, my sugar would tank
Mm.
instantly. Like, and I was really good about like checking my sugar, and it would
Sure.
be, let's just say it's at 1:30 before I jump on that treadmill. 10 minutes in, I go check it again, it's at 50.
Gotcha.
And so, which is super dangerous, right?
Right.
And it doesn't happen that way all of the time. You know that joke, that running gag, like you develop a cough and then you go to the doctor and as soon as you walk in, the cough goes away. So
It's not a running joke. It happens to me all the fucking time. Or I'll feel like shit and go to the doctor, and on the day I get the appointment, I feel better. Like, no
yeah,
joke. It happens all the time.
yeah. So because I do stress tests when I go to the doctor, because I've been telling him like I get dizzy, I get lightheaded, and he's like, check your blood pressure, do all of the things so I know what exactly is happening to your
Right.
body at the time. And I do all of those things and I'm like, it's too low or whatever. And I go and do a stress test and I'm there for like hours, right? And he's like, yeah, I'm not seeing you. He's like, how are you feeling? Are you dizzy? I'm like, no, I'm a little lightheaded. And he's like, well, yeah, I have you at a 5 running. Like,
Right. But yeah.
but
I,
yeah, but it doesn't happen that way. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
it's comes on at random times. And there were times where I start feeling I would get lightheaded and I go to the doctor and do these stress tests and I'd be fine there. But on my own, they just come up randomly without like warning, nothing. Like it just, I could be just sitting here talking to you and I'd start getting dizzy and lightheaded.
Right. Right. Well, I mean, in terms of the exercise and stuff they want you to do for the diabetes, maybe you can't run like you used to or whatever, but like, I mean, there are different forms of exercise. Like, obviously, you have the dogs, you take them for a walk twice a day. That's a form of exercise. So you're getting levels of exercise, maybe not to the point that maybe you think so. Do you know what I mean? But you're definitely still getting exercise, in that regard. So that's helpful, I'm sure.
Yeah, it is. It's just, it's not, as my doctor says, it's not enough.
Well, I'm not saying it's the only thing you should do, but it's at least something that you can do that's not going to be like overly strenuous to cause some of these other things you're talking about. You know what I mean? Like, I've talked to you when you've been on those walks with the dogs, and you've never said anything to me about that. I would imagine if you were feeling shitty, you'd be like, hang up and call my husband, please, because I'm gonna die. Like, like,
Yeah,
you
no.
know, you um, or whatever. But but I get it. Like with my condition, so we didn't talk about it much, my current state of things, but like over the last 2 to 3 years, I've noticed a substantial change in a bad way. You
Mm,
know, um, like I'm having trouble my grip strength with my bad hand, which was, believe it or not, pretty good for what it was. Do you know what I mean? Like,
hmm.
the problem is I couldn't regulate it, but like I could throw a grip on some shit and it stayed. You know what I mean? And like
Yeah.
that's gotten substantially worse. And then my coordination's gotten substantially worse in general. Like I'm falling more frequently than I used to, or at least than I have in a long time. You know, um, and before you make the joke, no, it's not the alcohol. Um, but you know, uh, but I'm also feeling weakness. Like Like when I do fall, it's harder to get off the ground than it used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I've also put on some weight. Like I would not go as far as to say I'm like a fat ass, but like I'm definitely the heaviest I've ever been. You know. Um I will honestly openly share with the audience I'm 5'6", 170 pounds right now, which for me is not good. You know.
Yeah.
And I've tried to make some. I'm trying to make some dietary changes in the way I eat. And ironically, I've put on more weight, so I'm not quite sure how that works. But I'm still trying to wrap my brain around that piece. But like, I am trying to eat better. I'm trying to. I'm not exercising enough. I certainly should be at PT. But the thing with that, and you get it from, it sounds like for all these, the specialists you're going to, while it's a different kind of thing, it's the same base problem. There's cost involved in that. There's a specialist cost
Mm-hmm.
in that every time you go, and
Yep.
I don't have the income to be going to PT 3 times a week at a specialist rate every time I go, because that's what it would qualify under with my insurance, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to get into all that because insurance is a whole different conversation that I'm sure we could dive into. That's, the bullshit there. And I don't want to do that. But, so it's preventing me from doing some of the things I probably should be doing. Now, some of it I can do myself. Like, I'm not going to lie. There's, and I could go to PT maybe once a week and get like at home exercises to do. But I will tell you right now, I don't think I'm disciplined enough to do them. I'm being perfectly honest about it. Now,
Yeah.
as as I'm getting older and realizing my limitations and whatnot, maybe I'll be a little more um, inspired or prone to do it for those reasons. I don't know, but things are not great with my condition right now. Like the reason I can do my job the way I do my job right now is because I actually have an ADA accommodation with my company,
Right.
or I would still have to be in the Delaware Valley, the East Coast, and I would have had to find a new job when I came to Missouri. Now, I don't say that to brag. I don't say that to like, oh, I'm tricking the system, because you, Jules, know that I didn't get handicap parking till I was 30,
Mm-hmm.
and even then, I don't think we ever talked about it on the original run of the hamster wheel, but like I struggled with that decision. You remember I did. Like I was not something that I just said, oh, I'm gonna go get that. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you, among other people, had to talk me into doing it. Like my mom, you, your husband. I think several people were like, "Dude, you need to finally go pull the trigger on that thing."
Oh,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
you know. And you were right. Like you weren't wrong. But my point is that I don't. Listen. When it comes to ADA and all that, which by the way, I'm considered a subject matter expert at my company for ADA.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just because I have a candidate. Like it's not like, oh, there's a disabled guy. He's
He's
our
the
AD.
token.
Right. Yeah. No, it's because I took an
Sorry.
active interest in it and I spent time researching it and became knowledgeable in those specifics, so that now I am considered a subject matter expert in my company.
Right.
Um, which, being that I work in compliance, makes sense. So I mean, I guess you know, um, so much so that I actually have to review. I will say, I'm not gonna say the name of the bank, but I've said before, I'm pretty sure that I work for a bank. I'm almost positive I've said that before. So like I'm gonna be reviewing the banks this year as part of my assignments. I'm gonna be reviewing our ADA compliance. Um, which is going to be interesting because it's the first time I've ever done it on an official capacity.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know. So, but it I have my own fears, Jules. Like I'm not gonna lie. Like we've been having a lot of fun, and I want the show to be fun. I want it to be upbeat, but like and I certainly, you've known me well enough that I hope you will back me up with this. I don't want people feeling sorry for me with this thing. That's not something I've ever wanted. You know, it just is who I am. But um at the same time, like I'm fearful now. Like you remember the old commercials of the old lady that falls and it was like the I've fallen and I can't get up. Like I'm legit. I know it's a funny
Yeah.
joke, but like I'm legit fearful that's going to be me one day. Now we live in this world where we have, echoes and phones that we can voice activate, so the likelihood of me being stuck like that is not as high. But you know what I mean? Like it's still a
Get,
scary thought, you
yeah.
know.
Get you an Apple Watch. Anytime you fall, it'll keep
Yeah.
calling 911 for you.
I used to have one, and it did not do that actually, because I fell wearing it a couple times. But yeah, um, I but I do worry about what I'm gonna be like, and I'm finally, the irony is I'm finally at a point in my life financially where I can enjoy life, and my body's like fuck off. So like it's shit.
Yeah.
Um, I but yeah, I do have a funny story about a doctor at an urgent care. I think I mentioned that earlier that I do want to
Yeah.
share. I um I was in my earlier 20s, and I fell in such a way that I actually chipped the bone in the top of my foot,
Mhm.
on my bad foot, of all things. Um of which I have zero range of motion beyond being able to walk on it, which we both know I don't do great to begin with. But like
Yeah.
but I can't, like, how if you sit and your feet are dangling, you can like raise your foot and wiggle it. And I can't do that with my left foot, my bad foot. And I'm at urgent care, and this is the infancy of urgent care.
Mhm.
Like they weren't all over the place like they are now. Not to put them down. I'm just saying that there were mainly like offshoots at hospitals that weren't quite the emergency room yet. You know what I mean? They weren't standalone buildings. And I went over to one, and he wanted to do the range of motion test, and he's like, "All right, raise your foot." I'm like, "No." And he's like, "Why?" I'm like, "I could never do it to begin with." He's like, "All right, well, push down then." I'm like, "Could never do that either." And
He's
he
like, then how
literally,
the hell am I gonna know if you broke something?
that's it. That's almost exactly what he said. Yeah. I mean, he was nice about it. He wasn't an asshole, but it was definitely like,
You're like, that's what X-ray machines are for.
no, they did the X-ray before they did the tests and found the chip. But he wanted to find out, what he was trying to determine was there more long-term serious damage from it.
You're like,
And
nothing that wouldn't been damaged already.
I guess, right? Yeah. I mean, but like he almost was a blackjack dealer. Like he almost said that I'm out. Like I have no idea. Like he legit was like, "I'm sorry, man, I can't help you. You need to go to your like specialist." But that's the thing. There is no specialist for this. There isn't one. They don't
No, there
exist.
isn't. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a neurologist that can help me with the actual
Brain part,
slight
yeah.
the brain part, and I can go to an orthopedist who could probably help with the muscle. Like, but there's no one specialist for what I have. There's not one specialist for
Yeah.
CP. There's not.
No. No,
You know.
there isn't.
Um. There now. I need to talk about this briefly, but like there is Shriners hospitals for children with disabilities, and I between them and my mom, I would not be where I am today. So mom gets all the credit she deserves, but so does that hospital. So, and Shriners Hospital is something that I'm very passionate about. To the point that I've been on. There was a point where Amazon used to take portions of your purchases and donated to a charity of
Mhm.
your choosing, and mine always went to Shriners.
Yeah.
Um, I'm sure the money I spent was a drop in the bucket for what they needed, but still, I felt good about that. And then on top of that, like when I've been on BFYCW, and every once in a while they play games for charity where the winner, or even not even the winner, but even the participants still get to pick a charity. The winner gets more money donated to their charity, but all the participants get money donated to their charity, and they've donated to Shriners on my behalf a few times. So that's been very cool of them to do that as well. Um,
That
and
is pretty cool,
yeah,
actually. Yeah.
those guys are very charitable, more so than
Yeah.
we've probably given them credit for on this show. But they do a lot for charity. They do a lot for fun and be stupid and silly. And when I say stupid, they know what I mean. And it's a fun stupid, not like they're idiots, but like just ridiculousness. And you were on the show, you've been there, you know what it's like. But they also do a lot for, even behind the scenes, they do a lot for charity. They really,
Right.
really do.
Yeah.
The three of them, they're really good guys for that. And not necessarily for Shriners, but for their own charity, the charities they believe in. But when they get other people involved, they make sure. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And there was a time, and conversely, I've done stuff for their charities as a kind of a thank you.
Mhm.
I actually donated $200 at one point to the VA chapter up in New York where they live, um, because of stuff that they done for me. I actually I got into a bidding war with one of the other contestants. It was kind of
For
funny, but
what?
no. So like remember that show Ruckus Juice I told you about a while back, and the guy Jabo.
Mhm.
So it wasn't even a bidding war, but like him and his wife actually were on as a contestants on the show. I was a contestant on the show. There was going to be a charitable component to it anyway.
Mhm.
And BFYTW said they were donating, and I forget the number, so don't hold me to it. They said they were donating like $50 or whatever it was, right? And then Jabo came over the top. He goes, "You know what? I'm gonna like triple that." And I was like, "Well, then I'm gonna add 200 to it or whatever it was." And we ended up donating like $500 total to that charity. So
Okay. So that's
yeah, no,
awesome.
no, it was very awesome. But it was just funny how we got there. And I remember hanging up from that episode going, "How did I just lose $200 in this deal?" Like, it went to a good cause, so I'm not upset about it. But it was just like,
Yeah.
how did that just happen?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but we got off topic, and I apologize for that. But Shriners, like the Shriners hospitals. Listen, if you're out there and you think there's even a disability, Shriners hospitals are great, because one of the things that's great about them is they do not bill you ever, ever. There's not a billing system. They don't ask you for your insurance, nothing. You just schedule the appointment and you go. You
Oh,
know,
that's pretty cool.
oh yeah, it's 100%
Mm.
charitable. That's why I make sure when I can donate that I
Yeah.
do, because it allows other people, children, because there's a cutoff. Once you're 21, you're aged out.
Damn it.
Unfortunately, yeah, right.
Maybe they can find out what's wrong with me.
I mean, maybe. Uh, they did a lot for me, and I've seen them do a lot for other people. In my time going there, and it needs. I mean, they're doing well. They've been around for like a long time. I don't have the history up in front of me, but like they've been around for, I want to say, at least 200 years. Like they've been around for a minute.
Mhm.
But it doesn't mean, just like things like St. Jude. Like I'm not anti. I feel like sometimes when I talk about Shriners the way I do it, I come across like anti St. Jude or whatever, and I'm not. It's just a different realm of things, right? But like it's the same
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
So, um, but yeah, there's a lot that we still don't understand about ourselves and health and
Well, to go back to the fact that like you have a pretty clear disability. Like
yeah.
right? Like you step out of your car and if you are in a handicap spot, no one's gonna bat an eyelash.
You'd be surprised.
Well, if they do, they're assholes.
Well, you know what it is, and they don't. They you know what it is though, Jules, is because like I don't have anything visual until I start walking. If I'm sitting in the car, you can't tell.
And
No,
here's the
and
thing
well, just real quick, and
is
then when I get out of the car, before I start moving, you can't tell. You know, like I'm
oh,
not getting out with a wheelchair or some device. That's my point. You know what I mean? Like there's not that clear indicator. You know?
I get that, but still that I think is my point right there is I don't think that you necessarily need a visual disability. Like you shouldn't have to have a walker or a cane
No,
or
no.
a wheelchair or even a limp or whatever in order to be considered handicapped because here's the thing, there are people like people with POTS who
Yeah.
they can't
You you
predict
you're
when they're gonna.
qualified, Jules. Technically, with the things that you have been diagnosed with, you are eligible.
I'm sure I'm still the person who parks at the very furthest part of the
No,
parking
but no,
lot,
I get that
but
and I respect that. But I'm saying from a technical perspective, from an ADA rules perspective,
yes,
you are disabled as much as I am. You know what I mean? Now, there are
yes,
we both know from a physical perspective, there's a lot of different variations
right,
and limitations. But yeah,
but the population of people believe that if you don't look physically disabled,
yeah,
that and even I've spoken to people who even have diabetes themselves and they don't consider themselves disabled,
sure, sure,
which is interesting to me because and I'm sure like there's an umbrella to it, right? Like
yeah,
not
yeah,
everybody has the same experience. You can have the same disease as somebody else,
oh,
but
100%, 100%.
experience it completely differently.
The, yeah,
And I was I was forbidden by my husband to take this trip by myself because I said to him because he doesn't relish the idea of driving for 4 days to
sure,
get to any one place. He travels so much for work that he's like, do I really have to travel
right, no, no, sure, sure,
on my day off? But I said to him, it's like myself. He's like, with two dogs. And I said, I have two kids. It's not that serious. Fact that he just kind of said to me, no, you're not doing this by what happens if you have an episode and there's nobody to drive with you or
right,
whatever.
right. Which is why
And
your daughter's driving back with you. Same idea. Yeah.
yes, but it just kind of occurred to me. I'm like these are things I didn't have to worry about when
Yeah.
I was, but really and truly, I think I should have been worrying about it because I think I've had these, whatever this is, I've had it probably my whole life because I've been
Right.
having different symptoms that just no one's ever said, hey, this is what it points to, or this
Yeah.
is maybe what it is. It's just getting 8,000 different diagnoses that don't match to any one thing. And so that's where it's frustrating is when you try to talk to people and say, like, for example, with the PTA thing where I legitimately could not be there
Right.
because I'm not feeling well, and I'm not gonna put myself or other people in a position where they feel like they have to call an ambulance for me because they're worried that something's like terribly wrong.
Severely, right. Yeah.
I'd rather stay home and deal with what I know is happening
Right.
myself. But then it's almost like, well, if you can't see the disability, it's almost like they don't believe that it's like you potentially are
Yeah.
making it up.
I've learned very very briefly because there's a topic I want to touch on before we wrap up that I feel is very important. But before we get there, I was, people can have their thoughts on what DE and I are and all that whole thing, and I'm not trying to get into that political debate, but we have DEI groups at work, and I actually was a co-chair for the one with persons with disabilities. Now, I left for reasons that I don't want to get into, um, because
Okay.
I'd rather not. But while I was involved in the group, I did learn so much about persons with disabilities that were invisible disabilities. Now, I'm not
Hmm.
saying that I didn't have some concept of that prior to that, but
Yeah.
I will tell you that the group was, and I'm gonna fudge these numbers a little bit for anonymity purposes, but it was approximately 50 people to 50 to 100, 50 to 75 people in the group is a safe range to give without giving too many specifics, right? I will tell you, I was one of two people that openly admitted to having a disability that was not invisible. The rest of the group were strictly invisible disabilities, legit ones. I'm not
Yeah. Yeah.
discussing the legitimacy of their disabilities. I'm just saying
Hmm.
there were two of us
Yeah.
that actually had physical disabilities in the group. That the percentage was the ratio was staggering to me. Now I'm not saying that's a fair representation of all of society or humanity, but my point is that, like, there's a lot, and the diversity within those invisible disabilities. It was not like everybody with diabetes or
Hmm.
everybody with POTS or whatever. There was
Yeah. Yeah.
a multitude of diversity within those of the people that were participating that were willing to admit. Now that's the other thing. There was a lot of people not willing to admit they have them at
Yeah.
all because there was no requirement to be in the group. There was no requirement to have a disability to be a part of the group. You could have been a supporter and still be a part of the group, right? So of the people that I meant, the numbers that I mentioned, I don't know that all of them even had disabilities because not everyone was willing to disclose. To your point, I can't hide mine, so I'm very open that mine
Well,
exists.
right. Exactly. Yeah.
However, even if I think just because of the ways I was raised and the way that I was brought up by my mom, that even if I could hide mine, I don't know that I would. You know, she
Yeah. I
she
mean, I
taught
could see
me.
that.
Yeah, she taught me a lesson that I have carried and evolved on my own thinking, right? So it's not, and that's not putting her down when I say that, but is that my disability is who I am. You know what I mean? I know a gentleman who has leg muffos that he wears because he has trouble walking, right?
Hmm.
And he confided in me that he was and I can say this because A, I'm not saying his name, but B, because I know I've changed his thinking. But at one point he came to me and confided in me that he was ashamed to wear things like shorts in the summertime because people would then see the leg muffos, and even though nobody was saying anything to him, he was embarrassed by having to show that, right?
Okay.
um and we were talking, and I was saying to him, I said to him, I said, man, it's just a part of who you are, right? It's nothing to be ashamed of. The man wears glasses. Now, I wear glasses when we're on here because I need them when I'm at the computer, but I don't need them when I'm walking around. I know you need them basically all the time, right? And so did he. And I said to him, I said, are you ashamed that you wear glasses? And he goes, no, I need them. I need to be able to see. I said, then why are you ashamed to have the mothballs on your leg? It's not any different. It's the same idea. And as soon as I said it that way, you literally could see it click in his brain. You could see the expression on his. He's like, yeah, you're right. It's just a part of who I am. And that's what my disability is. It's a part of who I am. And it's what everybody's disability should be. It's not just a me thing, right? It's everybody. It is. And I used to talk about you and your husband a lot when it came to this. And I don't mean any of this negatively. And I used to stress that all the time when it came up. Because I would bring it up. But when I brought it up, I would stress it that there was zero negativity from my perspective. But I would be at your house and we'd be having dinner, but we would most of the time, if you recall, and we really should do an origin story again, Jules. We did like where we've been for the last 10 years, but we probably should do an origin one again. But I'd come over and help you with getting dinner together. I wouldn't just show up and eat. Like most of the time I was there well before dinner was ready. And if I could help out in some way, I usually did. It wasn't very often.
Are you talking about the salad incident?
No, not just the salad. I was talking more when you and your husband had your house. But yes, that would be an example as well. Yeah. But I would be over there, and your husband or you, but typically your husband, because honestly, he did more of the cooking at the time, at least.
He still does.
Okay, well, I didn't want to assume that. I was just trying to not be rude, but he would say, "Hey, see, can you grab this thing, or can you do this part for me?" And it would be something that I legitimately couldn't do, right? Now, he wasn't asking me to be a dick. He would say to me, I would have to say to him, no, man, I can't do that. I don't think that's going to go well. And he'd be like, all right, no worries. And he'd ask maybe to do something else, or he would just do it, and it was never a negative from his side. But he would say to me, and you've said this to me too, I forget you have the disability, or I don't see the disability. He would say those kinds of phrases to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, it didn't bother me, and it came to realize that I'm not a fan of that phrase. And it's not that you guys did something wrong. That's why I keep stressing it this way, right? Because it's not just exclusive to you or your husband. But saying that you don't see my disability, it's the same as saying, like, when you talk about an African-American person, you say, I don't see color, right? It's the same kind of concept. To me, and I've said this to other people who agree with me, you're not seeing all of that person. You're not doing it from a negative. It's not coming from a negative space. I know that, and I think most people who hear the phrase know that, right? But in a way, you're dismissing part of that person. My disability is part of who I am.
I mean, I can see where you're going with that. I think
that's why I'm saying I'm not criticizing you two. I just think it's important to put that out there.
But I think too that there's a nuance to it, right? Because
sure.
Like it's. I can see that point, but I also see the point of you don't define that person by their disability.
Right. No,
you define them by their personality, and that's where it's like, oh, I forgot that you couldn't do this.
No, because absolutely. That's again why I stress
because you have because you have a capable mentality, right? But what
I think is important, Jules, and this is why I'm bringing this up. It's not so much about you or your husband, right? Or trying to correct actions of you two. it's put it out to the world that like when you go to say something like that, stop and think about it for a second, because to a degree you are diminishing the person, even if the intention is not to do so. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
I
Mhm.
get that the intention is not to do so, which is why I don't get angry about it. I was never angry with you when I came to that realization. I was never angry with you two for doing it. It was simply like the reason why I brought you two up a lot is because I heard it the most from you guys, and it wasn't. I know the place that it was coming from, you know, and
Yeah.
that's again why I bring it up the way that I did. But just for the audience, keep that in mind when you're seeing something. And it's not just limited to disabilities. Like I said, it can be skin color, it can be gender, it can be a lot of things. You know what I mean? So just food for thought. Like, see every how much better would this world be if everybody saw everybody equally? Now we both know that doesn't happen. I'm not living in some
But
fantasy
see,
world.
that's where I think the intention of that, at least from our end,
No,
the
that's no, that I
intention,
know. Yeah,
that's I think where it is like when you forget that that person is not as capable of doing certain things as
sure. But
everybody
you,
else,
but there's
right?
the right, and like anything, there's two sides to every coin,
Yeah.
right? So the other side of that coin is that to a degree, even in an unintentional format, you're diminishing part of who that person is. You know?
A- Agree 100%. I'm just saying, like, there, I think my point before was more people dismissing disabilities from people because they don't see them.
Oh no, no,
Whereas,
I'm aware. I just
like, to me, that's the louder of the two evils,
oh no,
right?
no, I don't disagree with you, but I saw that as a good transition into something that I felt
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I wanted to talk about. But no, you're not
yeah.
wrong though. You're absolutely not wrong. I agree with you
Because
1,000%. Yeah.
and even I mean, I know we have talked about this before that like there are and with ADA we've come a very long way
Oh sure. Yeah.
in terms of advocacy for people with
Absolutely.
disabilities,
Yeah.
but I think that people have more tolerance for people who have visible disabilities than those with invisible
Oh, without
disabilities.
question. Yeah. No, but because there's that visual to your point. There's that visual. There's that thing you can point to and say this person's
Right.
dealing with whatever, whether it be a wheelchair, a walker, limp,
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah. Absolutely. It doesn't
So,
make it right, but it's true. Yeah.
yeah.
You know.
And I think, that's one of the reasons why I decided to go with getting and training my dog to be a service dog for me
Right.
because there and he's still in the very he's task training still and
Right.
I'm I'll be honest, I'm not great about doing the task training lately because of the puppy and I have to do better for myself, but also for him because he enjoys having a job. I also think that she's going to do well once she gets past this fear period and but that's a
Yeah.
story
Yeah.
for a different day. He has on a few occasions alerted me to something he sensed from me, like when I had taken him to Disney with us in December. This was before we got Ember, so it was just him. And he and we were walking um in Disney and I didn't feel good. And this was before I got the arm patch that I have, this thing here.
Yeah. You can't really see it, but yeah, I know what you're talking
Oh,
about.
you can't see it.
No, it blends in pretty well. Oh, there you go.
Does
For a
it?
minute there. Yeah, it
Okay.
does.
All
Yeah.
right. So before I got this, I just had the regular like pinprick um situation
For blood
for
sugar. Yeah.
blood sugar. And so we were walking around and I didn't feel good. And I part of the reason I got the patch was because I'm I was terrible about pay, remembering to bring my glucometer with me
Mm.
when we went out because I mean
It's cumbersome. I get it. Yeah.
it's like the pouch is like this big and then like
Ain't nobody
and
got time for that.
no, ain't nobody got time for that for sure. But mostly the issue too becomes there are times where my sugar is so freaking low, I can't even I can't do it. Like physically, I cannot test it. So I wind up just eating some sugar because I'm like, it's better than
Right.
passing out trying to figure
Right.
out how
Right.
low
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
is. Anyway, we were out and I and he was distracted. Like he had to have been. There was a new place and it was just there was a
Sure.
lot going on. Um I sat down and he came over to me and started licking my face. And I was like, oh, something must be going on. And I didn't have my glucometer on me. So he kept coming, like he would lick my face, move off, come back, lick my face. So I knew it wasn't like just him being, affectionate in the moment. It was him basically saying, hey, something's not right with you. Figure it out. And I wound up sitting down and getting something to drink. And I didn't feel great still, but I didn't feel as horrible.
Right.
And um, I sat down for a long time. And then we went back and I checked my sugar and stuff. And um, I turned to my husband. I was like, my sugar wasn't too low or too high. It was like it's normal. So I actually was reading and I realized that I don't know that he's picking up the blood sugar itself,
But just that something's not right.
but that he might be sensing cortisol levels more
Gotcha.
likely.
Gotcha.
And that's what he's picking up on. So it could be that I'm having a tachycardic moment, which it's not high enough to like
Right.
make my watch buzz off, but high enough for me to just not feel great.
Right. 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 Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I mean, yeah. Well, listen, Jules. There's been a lot to this one, but I think I think it's been good information, and I want to say again, just because I think it's important. We're not medical professionals, so if something that you heard today or in this recording triggers something for you, go get it checked out. Go get a professional. Don't go off what we said. We're good guidance, but go see a doctor if you feel like if something you heard tonight resonates with you. Go to a professional, whether it be your GP, a specialist, whatever. But go see a professional. We are not that.
and
You
if you
know,
know what's wrong with me, let me know in the
if you know what's
comments.
wrong with Julie, yeah, please let us know. Send us an email or a tweet us or whatever, something, please. I want to forego my usual closing, um, if you don't mind, Jules, just for this one, and just reiterate to try and look at everyone as much as the same as you can. Like, don't When it comes to the disability thing, and when it comes to people that are not feeling well, people that are ill, you don't know why they are. You don't know their story. You've heard our stories tonight. We're two of billions that are out there, and I guarantee you none of them are the same. None of them, So try to see all of everybody as often as you can. And until the next time, keep on spinning.